So I always start my look with my eyebrows. I brush them through and then I go ahead and fill them in. I start by drawing a straight line on the underneath, following the eyebrow shape. And then on the top side, I tend to just do really light hair strokes, just to give a softer look. I also bring my eyebrows closer together because I find it complements my face shape better. And when I do those, I always draw hair strokes going up so that they look a little bit more fluffy and natural. So now I'm taking my flat brush by MAC and the Helen E Cosmetics eye primer, and just carving out my brows to make them look a little sharper underneath. I only do this underneath, not on the top. And I first place it all on, all the way down to the lash line. I tend to put it on quite thinly. I know there's other people that tend to put 2 layers on, but I find 1 layer works okay for me. And then I pat it to set it. So now I'm going to take my NYX Ultimate palette and I'm going to use the shade, the peachy shade, which is in there. I'm going to use this in my crease. When you're putting the first lot of colours on top of the base, you need to make sure that you get plenty of product on there. If you don't put enough product on and you try and blend, you're just going to be smudging it into the base instead of laying it on top and setting the base. So first off, I'm just packing the colour on really lightly and just getting more and more colour on there before really working it in. Now I'm taking a clean fluffy brush and the bright purple from the palette, and I'm just literally dabbing that on, patting it onto the outer corner, the outer half of my eyelid. We don't rub because that takes the colour away, it stops it from looking bright. And once I'm happy with the amount I've got on, I'm just literally softening the edge and blending it into the peach. Now I'm just going to apply my black. For this I'm using Urban Decay Blackout eyeshadow. I'm using a small fluffy brush so that I can be a little bit more accurate where I'm placing it, because I don't want to cover over the pink that I've just put on, the purpley pink. And I'm just placing this on the outer edge, almost like a winged eyeliner, kind of where that would go. And again, I'm just dabbing it on so that I get a better colour payoff. Once you're happy with how much black you've put on, just go ahead and go back over each step in reverse and cover over any lines that you might have made. So put the purple on first, just overlap a little bit where you put the black, and then go back over the crease just to blend that even more with that peach shade. Now I'm taking my Illamasqua skin base in white, and I'm just gonna cut the crease a little bit, kind of like a half crease, so that I can apply some glitter on top then. I'm using my flat brush, the same brush that I used for the base, and I'm just lightly patting that on there to create a neat half moon kind of shape. Once you're happy with the shape, just blend the edge of that white into the purpley pink shade. Use your finger, it's no bad at all. I'm also just repeating one of the steps and putting pink back over just to make it brighter again and help blend into the shade that I'm about to apply to the white. Now with a flat brush, a smaller version of the brush you've been using for the base, give it a spritz of Fix Plus by MAC, and then dip it into the glitter of your choice. I'm using MAC, I think it's called Iridescent Sage glitter. It's quite unusual and it's hard to get hold of. And then you just dab it on top of the white then, and that just helps it to set and it makes that colour really pop. I'm now taking the Maybelline gel liner and I'm just lining the lid, just taking it to where the black eyeshadow is. There's no need to create a wing because you won't see it because there's black on the outer edge. So it's a good little cheat if you're not very good at doing winged lining. And then I'm going back in with the black eyeshadow that you used earlier and I'm just softening off the edge of that eyeliner so you can't tell where the eyeliner starts and finishes and where the eyeshadow starts. Using some micellar water, wipe away any excess that's dropped down. Then using a small smudger brush, go back in with that gel liner and just line all the way along the underneath of the eye and smudge that out. Now using a small fluffy flat brush, go back in with your purpley pink colour and just blend out that black, slightly lower than the black. so you're not covering it with purple, you're just blending it. Now going back in with the black, just to set that black liner, I'm using the black eyeshadow with a smaller flat brush, and I'm just patting on top of that black, kind of in between where the black and the purple is. Once you've blended the black and the purple together, just wipe away any excess and clean up the edge with some micellar water on a cotton pad. For this part, I didn't have my false eyelashes to hand, so I just put some mascara on in the meantime until I finished. I just did a light coating just to blacken the lashes. I'm now applying some moisturiser all over the face, especially under the eye, because we're going to be powdering and applying a lot of product. You don't want it to look cakey. I'm now starting with the highlighted areas. I'm using my Hourglass foundation stick to brighten the area. I'm going under the eye, middle of the forehead, down the nose, Cupid's bow and chin. And I'm just going to buff this in with a nice big fluffy brush. I'm now applying my contour shade, which is a foundation stick by Bobbi Brown in Cool Almond. Where the sun hits my face, I'm going to use it on my forehead, the cheekbones, either side of the nose to slim my nose, and just under my lower lip and chin to stop my chin looking on the large side. Then using a nice big fluffy brush, again a clean one, not a used one, I'm just going to buff that out and try not to move it around too many areas which we've brightened, because that would be defeating the object. I'm now going to set all the highlighted areas using RCMA translucent powder, or I think it's called no colour powder, and I'm just dabbing that on really lightly, getting a lot of product on there. Don't worry if it all falls out everywhere. I'm going to leave that sit there for about 3 to 5 minutes, and that's going to stop the makeup from settling in any fine lines. It'll also help to last much longer. I'm now going in with my favourite blush, and that's Just a Pinch by MAC. It's a lovely peachy pinky shade, and it's pearlescent so it doesn't look flat. I always take my blusher from the apples of the cheeks all the way back. I just feel like it looks a lot more lifted. I'm now going to bronze my face, so I'm going to go over all the areas which I did dark with the foundation stick. I'm using MAC Next to Nothing in deep dark. And I'm just using that to set the contour to stop that from going anywhere. So everywhere where I put the Bobbi Brown foundation stick, I'm just going over to set. So just before I wipe away the rest of that translucent powder, I'm just going to go underneath and use the paler shade which we used on the eyes, which is that peachy shade, and I'm just going to blend it into the concealer with a large fluffy brush. I'm just going to highlight my brow bone using Albatross by NARS, and I'm just going to blend that into the peachy shade. Also putting it on the inner corners to make the eye look bigger. Using a clean fluffy brush, just buff away all of that translucent powder that was left sitting there. Really buff it away so you're not left with any clumpy, clogged bits. Then finish the brow using some brow gel. I used the Illamasqua Brow Sculpt. I'm now applying the Urban Decay glitter just to blend it where the glitter on the eyes meets the pink. So this will just help it to be a nicer transition. I'm now applying the NYX lip liner. I think this shade is Nude, and I always overdraw my lips. I also blend it onto the lip as well. This helps when you put on the lip colour. I'm now applying Huda Beauty liquid lip colour in the shade Sugar Mama. I'm applying this all over the lips and pretty much covering the lip liner too. As this dries, you'll be able to see a slight difference in colour where it's gone on top of the liner. To highlight, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury new palette. It's the Bar of Gold palette. And for the high points, I'm using the pale champagne colour. And for the apples of my cheeks, I'm using the rose gold. And then just everywhere else, I'm going to be using the deeper gold. I always use a damp brush to put my highlighter on. I just feel like you get much more of a glow. So I always spray it with setting spray or Fix Plus or anything that's damp really.